Welcome to Bootstrap, Insights for the Self-Funded Entrepreneur with Frank Cianciulli. My name is Matthew Lay, and I am your host. Today on the show, we are going to talk about culture and the impact on culture when you move in key individuals into the firm, like an executive, or when doing an acquisition or a merger. Frank, we've talked a lot about culture on this show because I know it's very important to you, but probably more so important when you're talking about making these sort of big moves.
Okay.
So let's talk, we've been talking a lot about mergers, acquisitions, things like that. So let's start there. How important is culture when you are going out and acquiring an organization? How important is culture when you look at that?
It's absolutely critical. It's almost, besides, identifying that it's the business you want to be in, the second thing is cultural. And I always like to do a site visit and get to know some of the key people when it's possible in the business and just get a feel for demographics, age, all that sort of thing. Are they an entrepreneurial culture? Are they similar to us?
Yeah.
Will they mesh well? Mm-hmm. You want the acquisition to be successful, so you want to hang on to certain talent. You want to make sure they thrive in your environment. But the bigger issues, you want to make sure that your own company doesn't lose its way.
Yep.
And disrupt any momentum that you may have.
Right. I've seen you do it. You almost pitch the staff on the way it's going to be and see how they react, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I'm talking to the owners and they get a feel for all the things that we do culturally, whether it's our kickoff meetings and the parties we do and the compensation and the model and just the energy and how fast things happen in our business. It could be intimidating for a lot of guys coming into our business because we've, thankfully have scaled our businesses fairly quickly. And some of the acquisitions we make, they haven't. Yeah. So there is a different level of expectation when they come into the fold.
Right.
So we've got to assess whether those people will actually thrive and want that. And they were missing that in their existing culture, so they're excited coming into our culture. There's awards and we're excited and there's recognition and we have chairman's club trips and all these wonderful things and better benefits. So in our case, we're able to do that. And but oftentimes you get resistance.
Well, people are resistant to change. Change is always a struggle, right?
Natural.
Okay, so on the other side, as companies grow, and we've had to do this too, you look outside for talent, whether it be a role you've never had before, whether it be it's just time you
Chief
need
financial officer.
You need a different level of person in a role because the job has changed and it's become more challenging. That's harder because often you're going to people with a lot of experience that's not in your company, or they're coming from a bigger shop.
Yep.
So when you do that, what do you look for in bringing in, let's call it a senior executive, adding somebody to the team who you're going to pay a bunch of money to help you in the business?
Ironically, this is even harder than bringing in a whole company of people. Because
we get to pick and choose which ones you keep in that case, right?
Well, oftentimes if you get the company, they already have the customers, they're already operating the business together. So we're just trying to take it up another level and kind of just putting them together. But sometimes bringing in that senior person can be incredibly disruptive to the whole business, not even just the department you bring them in. Yeah. We've had this where we brought chief financial officers in, and they were coming from a different organization where, maybe they had tons of money and lots of, best practices and governances and everything was already in place and systems and fancy billing systems. And they say they want to work in an entrepreneurial organization, but then they come on board and they realize we have none of those things, and they don't adapt. And they make us feel inferior, and they potentially don't even know how to handle that change. Yeah. And they start voicing that to some of the teammates, and it becomes very disruptive. Yeah. And then you've kind of gone all in, and now you've got to kind of retract and replace that person. So you've got to time it right. You've got to make sure the person fits the culture, and that's very challenging because you're out there looking for someone who's already done it. Yeah. And so therefore, how comfortable are they in that environment where it's already been done, and now have to come back into a bootstrap environment?
And that's the big thing, right? Like, I've been there with you, and that thing about people saying they want to be part of a bootstrap family, whatever it is, environment like we all
Young
create,
company.
They say it. But if they've never done it, they don't know what that's like.
No.
So one thing that we've done, and this is like is that you still need to attract good talent, you still need to give them the pitch. So Frank gives him the pitch, tells him how awesome it's going to be, and then says he's got to meet with me, and I tell him how awful it's going to be. I tell him all the hard work that needs to be done. Here's what we don't have in place. Here's what we want to have in place. Still show excitement, but let them know how hard it is. And this last round, we had some people actually walk away from the role, which was awesome. Not that we want to scare people away, but it's nice not to be in that other situation, which we've been in.
Well, I think it's natural, you're running a bootstrap company, you really, you're excited about a candidate, and you kind of, you pitch all the good things that maybe aren't even there yet, but are going to be there.
Yeah,
and,
vapor, I think we call it.
We call that vapor.
Aspirational.
And then it doesn't work out. But, and there's, I've read recently The Hard Things About the Hard Things, a great book. And he talks about this, especially with these Silicon Valley companies are scaling quickly, and it's like you're really bootstrapping, you're still maybe losing money, and then you've got to hire these talented people, and it's like they could really curb the momentum of the organization. So, I mean, there's a lot of intuition here as well,
right?
Involved. And hey, listen, I'd wish I could tell you we get it right, even most of the time.
Yeah.
I think we're maybe 50-50.
Yeah.
So I will say though, when it doesn't work out, that you've got to, you're better off to address it quickly as opposed to letting it linger and really disrupting the culture.
Well, batting even 400 will get you into the Hall of Fame, so it's not that bad, Frank. Don't be hard on yourself. Next time on the show, if you have questions about this topic or any of the ones we've covered so far this season, next week we are going to ask Frank your questions. So go ahead and submit them. Until that time, like, share with your friends, anyone you know who's looking to become an entrepreneur or already there. This is a great show for them, as you well know, and keep it lean.